Hello there, welcome or welcome back. Today I wanted to go over 10 more Oracle decks that I love. I already have a top 10 Oracle decks of all time video that I'll put in the cards, but obviously I adore all the decks I have, and I realized I specifically have 10 more mass market decks that, yes, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with them if you're more experienced in the space, but they might have gotten past you, and obviously people are discovering tarot and oracle all the time. So regardless of where you are in your journey, I wanted to show off these decks because they're wonderful. So without further ado, let's just get right into the video. So first up we have the Woodland Wardens. This is a newer deck. Really pretty backs. The aesthetic overall is awesome. And it is all pairings of animals and plants. So it has a really unique aesthetic, I would say. Very, I'm sorry, it's literally one loud thing after the other outside. But yeah, I mean, how would you describe the aesthetic? I'm not always the best at knowing the names of things. It's almost got like, not dark academia vibes, obviously, because it's animals, but like sort of a gothic folklore kind of situation. Let me know if you know better terminology for it, but it is just really neat. It has some very unique animals and plants, and the synergy between them is really interesting. Like, let's pick a random one. Well, that's fun. The fox is on the cover. The fox and ivy. It also makes you sharp with your Roman numeral skills. There we go. Fox and ivy. Adaptability. Foxes are cunning, quick thinking, and clever. When paired with ivy, a hardy plant that flourishes even in harsh environments, the fox reminds us to apply our cleverness toward adaptability. Upright, allow the fox's ingenuity to guide you. Nimbleness and adaptability will suit you well in your endeavors. Reverse, your stubbornness may be holding you back. Remain open-minded and beware of becoming stuck in our ways. Do I feel stuck? How can I adapt to changes in my life? So even though it's really brief write-ups, they tend to be like pretty much all you need. Very useful and profound, even in their brevity. But yeah, it's a fun one for sure. I just think the art is really, really beautiful and unique. Like, obviously there are so many different animal decks at this point, and plant decks too. But between the pairing of both of them together and the just very unique art style, it's like almost like portraits, It's really stunning. So this deck is definitely up there. I wonder. Oh, wow, the second one, I was not paying attention. Yeah, this deck stays goated. That's all I'll say about that. But this deck is fabulous. And while these are in no particular order, I put this one first because it's goated. Goat means greatest of all time, if you are not aware. Anywho, next up I have the Sacred Destiny Oracle. And I have modded this one. I have a video on that, which I will also put in the cards. So it normally has white borders all the way around, but I took them off to give it a more borderless feel. I really like how that came out. But yeah, this deck is a classic for sure. It is really great art and keywords. Like, even though there's no sub keywords or anything, it really just gives you all you need. And yeah, you know, maybe slightly dated looking art at times, but it gets the job done and it makes me really happy. The write-ups in the book are really meaningful. It's a good guidebook, definitely up there in quality. And yeah, it's got a really fun mix of whimsy and realism, magic and the mundane, and just really relevant keywords that apply to a lot of situations. So even though it can be kind of fantastical, like literal ships flying into the sky, it reads really well. So I love this deck so much. That's why I put the time and care into it to make it borderless like this. Should probably edge it with something too. I don't know what that would be, but yeah, it's beautiful. So highly recommend this one. It really is just so striking and resonant. So that is the Sacred Destiny Oracle. Next up, I have the Halloween Oracle, which was actually my first Oracle deck ever, if you can believe that. And it's very classic Oracle, big cards, glossy. And it's just a staple, like for anyone who loves the spooky season, Halloween, Samhain in general. I also happened to get this in Salem, which is just forever a great memory. But yeah, this one is just great for that time of year, but it can be used at any point. I really like the different skull cards that they have, but then also just every aspect of Halloween or Samhain that you can think of. And some of them are really beautiful too, like the Ancestors card. And then they've got a decent amount of like monsters, seasons. It's a little, some of the cards are like beautiful like this, and then some of them are a little bit more silly. But the keywords are also really great. Like, they give you what you need for sure. Like vampire with emotional intelligence. Love that. So this deck is such a staple for that time of the year, whatever hemisphere you live in. And I highly recommend. I don't know, I'm just always going to have really fond memories with this one because it was my first one ever. I'm realizing I never noticed the inside border color. It seems kind of random and slightly different for each one. It's just interesting. But that is the Halloween Oracle. Next up, talk about goated. I have probably one of the best-selling Oracle decks of all time, the Mooooology Oracle cards. This one is huge. I'm sure almost all of you have heard of it, but I'm doing this for the people who might not have because this deck is a great way to learn about the different astrological energies and how they correspond with the moon, and also the energies of the different moon phases. So it's literally constant planes and car noises outside. I'm sorry. But yeah, it has everything you need to know. I think the keywords are really strong in teaching you the concepts. And the art is really pretty too. Like, I don't know, I feel like you could potentially make the moon kind of boring, but this is really powerful, and like the pattern that it has is really cool. So it's like all the moon phases are like these extra pretty ones like this, and then they've got the full moon vibe, and then the new moon vibe. So I love this one. This was also an early deck for me because it is so classic, and it really did a lot to help me understand the different moon phases and correspondences. So I definitely recommend this one. It's very affordable, and it's just like such a classic to have. Like it's a workhorse, it's standard, it's really solid. So, and it doesn't hold back either. Nothing will come from this situation. Like, it's definitely not like a all love and light kind of deck. It like is confronting, so I love it for that. Surrender to the divine. So yeah, that is the Mooooology Oracle cards. Next up, I definitely have a more rare on YouTube one. I do not see this one a lot. So this is the archetype cards deck. This is before there was a wild unknown archetypes deck. This is a much older deck. I don't know what year. 2003. And the art definitely shows it. But why I think this deck is so awesome is because it has just such interesting choices for the archetypes they picked. You know, they just have like everything you could really think of. It covers everything. Gossip, light attributes, awakens consideration for the feeling of others, honoring trust. Shadow attributes, thrives on the power of passing on private or secret information, betraying confidences. So what I love is, regardless of the implicit morality based on like current cultural understandings of whatever the archetype is, there's always a light and shadow attribute. So vampire, light attribute, makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. Shadow attributes, depleting others for your psychic survival, chronic complaining, and codependency. So I love that there's this card. I love this so much. And a fool, hello. I just think the choices are really awesome. It's not, you know, my favorite art style, but I feel like it works for the time that it's from and the vibe that it has. And yeah, I just love the light and shadow. There's different child cards, which is interesting. And there's like even similar flavors of the same thing. So there's like priest, and I think there are like other kinds of religious cards. I'm sorry, the engineer is so funny. I can't. Yeah, so they just have really interesting choices, and I appreciate it. They have addict, femme fatale, judge, servant, athlete, mentor, alchemist. I love it. So there's so many cards too. So yeah, see, they have priest and monk / nun. Another child card. They have king and prince. They have goddess, and I know there's a god card somewhere. So, oh my god, I cannot with the noises outside. I'm sorry if the audio is bad. Yeah, it's just fabulous. There's a Midas, miser, and a beggar card. I don't know. So yeah, this one I did not see as much. I think it doesn't get enough love these days. So I wanted to make sure I brought it out. I think this would be, yeah, just a newer one to most people. So that is the archetype cards deck. Next up, I know I've talked about this in other videos, but not in a straight oracle deck roundup video. I just really believe in the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle deck. I think it's really cool that it has princesses, witches, and mermaids, and it just has really great messages, and I love the art too. There's a lot of diversity, which I always look for, and yeah, it just is quite confronting. Like, it really covers everything, and it does not hold back, while always staying like somewhat gentle at the same time. It's really good for that. So I really appreciate this deck. Anyone whose vibe this is, I highly recommend, because it is just so sweet. There's only one that's like about slaying dragons, and I don't want to do that ever, but because I love dragons. Yeah, but other than that, all the cards are great. I think the villain card was what got me to get this deck because I just feel like it's so unique. Like, you can always rewrite the story, and like this image is just so interesting. So, yeah, it's just a very unique deck. There's lots of, goddess feminine decks out there, but this one stands out to me as one that I'm just more inherently comfortable with, and that is just great. Like, tree, let them go. It doesn't hold back. I love the stars card. You can manifest every wish. It's so beautiful. So this deck is like encouraging and nurturing and just really sweet. So I love the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle deck. That is that one. Next up, I don't think I've ever shown this on this channel somehow. We have the Animal Spirit, or the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle deck. And it goes very well with the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. But yeah, it was one of my first Oracle decks ever, and my first animal Oracle deck ever. So definitely is special to me for that. And what's cool about this deck is, again, it matches the aesthetic with the black and bright colors of the Wild Unknown Tarot, so they pair really well. But it also has elements for each animal. So it has all 4 elements as well as the spirit element, which is really cool. They have one for each chakra, which is super interesting. So the guidebook is really good. Kim Kranz just writes really great guidebooks. And it's just a really special deck. Like, anything that I had really early in my collection is just always going to have an extra special spot in my heart. But yeah, the messages are just strong. The animals are cute. And I definitely like the way that they're arranged into elements like this. A lot of them are really interesting. Like, I don't know if I previously would have thought about zebra being fire, but once you read through the guidebook, it makes a lot of sense, honestly, once you think about it some more. So yeah, that is the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle, and I love all the choices of animals that were put into it as well. They picked really nice ones, so that is that. Next up, I have another major classic, the Enchanted Map Oracle. This one is huge, and I really want to get the borderless edition for it. There's a borderless version that is just a little bit more modern looking, but I do love the map edge, the stained map paper kind of look. And this was a gift, so it's really nice. This deck tells a story of adventure, and it just has that like older, interesting art style. I don't know how to describe it more than that, honestly. But it just has really unique choices, like these fantastical places and characters that are so interesting. Like, I have no idea like how they thought of this story, this journey, but they're really cool choices, like rock bottom, dry desert, dreams, intention, wide open, moonlight. It's quite interesting. Ghost lands. Of course, you need a compass for the map. This one I highly recommend checking out for yourself, because you just sort of have to like go along for the ride, really. It's kind of hard to describe. I think it's just something you need to experience, but there's a couple interesting mirrored ones like this. Metamorphosis. Into the unknown. Really fascinating. I love that there's a goblins card. You know, quite literally making a choice. Stuck in the mud. Deep freeze. 7 steady peaks of joy. Coming apart. And come together. Are always interesting. So yeah, it's a really cool deck. I think it pairs really interestingly with other decks. Obviously it has a very unique style, so if you want to match it aesthetically, you have to do that. But I really want to get the Westwood Tarot for this actually. But yeah, I think this one is really special and doesn't get talked about a lot because it's older. How old is this one? 2011. Yeah, so you just won't hear about it as much, but it's so good. So that's the Enchanted Map Oracle. Next up, I have another animal deck that I've definitely talked about before on here, but I really think it's earned its spot and its designation as goated because it really has such interesting animal choices, and I also think the art is really cool. I also think this would go really well with the Westwood Tarot. Love the choices and which animals were selected, and I just love the way that they're like dressed up and stylized, and the little keyword sentence that goes with the animal name is really strong, like really striking, literally just like a few words most of the time, but they really hit hard, and so I love this deck for that. You know, there's so many animal decks out there, so it can be hard to stand out and like really create something new that carves its own way into the space, but I think this one is really, really strong, and so I love it so much. Clear out the clutter, turn knowledge into wisdom, see the big picture, let's be your guide. Maybe those are on the cheesier side, but there's some like really cool ones. The abundant universe will provide. But like some of them are more confronting as well, for sure. Like it's not all like happy fun ones. So it's really great. Sometimes life stings, you know? Yeah, so this one is just fabulous. If you haven't heard of it somehow, I highly recommend it. You know, this is for people who are new, or you know, people who are experienced but maybe like haven't looked around as much at what is out there. So I hope it's valuable to talk about for some people. So yes, that is the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. So last but not least, I have a much newer deck. That's sort of why I put it at the end. And it's called Cowgirls and Aliens. I'm just noticing, looking at this right now, that the hollow gilding is holding up really well. So not only is it pretty, but it's high quality. So that's something to appreciate. But yeah, what's so awesome about this deck is that it's half cowgirls and half aliens. So if you haven't heard about this, I highly recommend. I think it's so cool. We obviously have, you know, a very diverse collection of girlies and femmes. Some of them being total aliens, and also some very interesting horses. And it's just like every archetype you could think of regarding like a Western aesthetic and a spacecraft alien aesthetic. So it's really cool. And also the affirmations on each card are really strong as well. I don't think I've ever pulled this one. The Gunsmith. I am adaptable and will use what I have to face any challenge. The AI, I will be open to change and embrace newer perspective. Right. Oh my god, this one has like a robo horse. So cool. The bounty hunter. I will learn from failure and become stronger. And I love how like there are UFOs in the background of some of them. So it's definitely a very interesting world. Like I feel like a lot of lore is developed without having to say much. Yeah, I just love the affirmations. I love the art style. I love the cast of characters they've created. The preacher, I will be open-minded and kind to others. I just love playing this for like a reminder of how I want to show up, or just advice on how I want to show up on a given day. The highwayman, I am determined and I will keep trying. Like, there's definitely a sense of humor to a lot of this, and yeah, it's just really cool. So this one is definitely unique. Like, there are archetype decks, there are femme-girly decks, there's like desert themed decks, and there are alien decks, but I don't think anyone's ever combined it quite like this. So that is the Cowgirls and Aliens Oracle. Highly, highly recommend for sure. So those are 10 more mass market decks that are really cool. I hope this was enjoyable. I hope there was something fresh in this for you. Again, I know that a lot of these are already really popular, but I just wanted to make this in case. So those were 10 more awesome Oracle decks that I thought were worth showing. I know that a lot of people are probably familiar with them already, but I hope there was something new you could take out of this video, even if it was just like a new perspective on one of these decks. I hope it was helpful. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Let me know if you're gonna get one of these in the comments. I would love to hear. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!